With that, we'll jump into the Roto-World player news because we have a lot of player news. For all of your player news, go to NBCSports.com. And here are the notable injuries we're tracking. Not just one full screen of them, but two. Let's start with this. Tyreek Hill did not practice on Wednesday with an ankle. Raheem Mostert did not practice with an ankle and knee. Trey McBride, Keenan Allen, Rashid Shaheed, Dorian Thompson-Robinson is in concussion protocol. Amari Cooper with the rib injury. Kareem Hunt, Tank Dell, Dalton Schultz. All of these players did not practice. I think with Tyreek, it could be some veteran rest, though, Barry.
I think same with Mostert. Tank Dell's a little concerning. Keenan Allen's missed a bunch of Wednesdays in a row. I'm not really worried about that as well. Aaron Jones, we're hoping to get him back this week, but again, he did not practice. A.J. Dillon has a groin.
Pop Douglas in concussion protocol.
Yeah, exactly. My love list is coming out. This is the love-hate day. I'll just tell you that Demario Douglas is on my love list, but again, needs to clear the concussion protocol, obviously. That's in the and then Chris Olave, we're not expecting him or Rashid Shaheed. It is A.T. Perry week here at the
let's say with
happy hours. And then there at the again, I'm not worried about the Eagles but Devon Achane, obviously, great to see him back out on the practice field. He was limited yesterday. But look at the very bottom, Connor Rodgers.
It's alive.
It had been 24 hours since we talked about Aaron Rodgers, so had to make sure he was back in the headlines.
He's here, limited in practice.
Limited in practice.
Not
wearing the
cleared.
red jersey, throwing some balls around.
Not cleared for contact. I love that it says Achilles on there, just to kind of reinforce the man is back from 3 months of an Achilles.
So insane. To me, the smoking gun with Rodgers is when Jay Glazer reported that Rodgers, when he comes back, he's not going to be himself. He's not going to be able to move around, but if he can just operate from a kind of a tight pocket, it's like, that's not how football works.
No, not this game.
Just step back. Can't do the Phil
Has he
Rivers.
not watched the Jets offensive line play one snap this
He's going to
year?
be running for his life against whoever. It doesn't matter if they're playing the Commanders who have no pass rush. There's still going to be guys running at him. He's going to have to move around. And then when he went on McAfee and kind of hedged it, because there was a report that he's coming back regardless of the Jets' playoff position. And then on McAfee he said, well, we need to be in the mix. So I was like, well, what are you really saying, Aaron? Because I don't think you're coming back.
Don't hold your breath on that one necessarily.
He's definitely not coming back. By the way, I also am not cleared for contact. Just FYI.
Yes.
Yeah, put me in bubble wrap.
You know who might be genuinely coming back off the couch? Joe Flacco has been named the backup quarterback for DTR, but DTR...
It's a tough go for P.J. Walker.
To be fair,
but...
P.J. Walker might have been... Tim Boyle played better than P.J. Walker did last week, I thought. P.J.
I don't know how tough
bad.
Go. He's been unplayable.
He had some moments last year in Carolina.
Yeah,
he had some real moments.
Great story.
He's not really had moments this year. And I think the fact that they're going to bring in Flacco and make him the presumptive starter if DTR can't go, and we expect he probably won't go, I think that says a lot about where P.J. Walker is at. But I mean, what do you think this does, Matthew, for Amari Cooper if he can go? Also on the injury report, Elijah Moore and company.
I know this is going to sound insane. I think it's an upgrade.
I agree.
I think it's an upgrade. Do we think Joe Flacco is great? No. Do we think he's elite? No. Not at this stage of his career. We can debate that from earlier in his career. But the fact is that he is at least semi-professional quarterback in terms of being able to go through his progressions, in terms of being able to deliver a ball on time, being able to understand where where wide receivers are going with their routes, and just DTR just isn't there yet in his career. He's a rookie. He was a late round rookie. He was drafted, Connor, correct me if I'm wrong, he was drafted as a developmental project.
Yeah.
Now he had a really nice preseason, give the kid credit, and he's certainly athletic, but the fact is that as a passer, he's still developing.
He is, and he just needs time. I know he was that 4.5-year starter at UCLA, but it's a lot different in the pack, especially in Chip Kelly's offense. And when you look at him right now, the speed, especially in the AFC North right now, it just looked a little overwhelmed. He can make plays with his legs, but to expect him to get that passing game full throttle was a little bit much.
Yeah, I thought he actually looked good against Denver, and I thought that was a real improvement. He was positive EPA per play. He was solid in that game, and then he obviously gets knocked out of it. But Flacco, to me, last year, he had some moments early on. I think the Cleveland game in particular,
just can't move.
put up. Well, that's the thing. I remember the Buffalo game he came into late in the season. He's just so statuesque.
Yeah, he can't move, but he could throw on time and with anticipation, and the arm strength is great. It's just the Browns typically, and I know they've had a lot of injuries this year, typically have a decent offensive line that you hope it would look a little better, but he's not a guy that can escape or
no, but you know what? But you know what he can do? He can be a game manager, which honestly, given how good that defense is, they're still, I think the Browns are 7-4, right? The Browns are still very much alive in the playoff mix, and if you can just literally be a game manager with that defense, hand the ball off, convert some third downs, which Flacco I think is certainly capable of. Remember, he had that. I think he actually. I wonder. It's so funny. I wonder if. Was it the Browns game that Flacco had that monster? Like it was a 26-point. It was like the crazy comeback for the Jets last
scored
year.
twice in like
Nick Chubb didn't go down
50 seconds.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, they
so
were
maybe
thinking
that's
of
what,
that.
maybe that was the only.
Right.
Maybe that was the only film that the Browns watched. They're like, oh, Flacco kills us. We got to get him on our team.
Yeah,
I
do
didn't
think
realize
as well,
all the other games where he was bad last year, but.
It's a reasonable matchup against the Rams too, because the Browns are hurting at tackle, but their interior of the offensive line is really strong. And with the Rams, it's really just Aaron Donald who lines up on the interior, and they don't have a good secondary. So I do think Flacco might have some moments if he is going to go.
I have Amari Cooper in a dynasty league, and I'm rooting for Joe Flacco.
Yeah,
I mean,
let's
honestly,
go.
as somebody like I've had some
Flacco for
injuries, and in that league, that's the league where I lost. I lost Joe Burrow. I'm not going to have Ken Walker tonight. I'm not going to have Aaron Jones. It's all my college buddies. It's 12 teams, 18-man keepers. Like it's just super deep, and so it's just there's nothing out there on the waiver wire. Right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of those things. So like you need the guys that you have to be able to perform. So like we've been having to roll. Me and my college roommate, we co-own the team together, and we've had to roll out Amari Cooper every single week, no matter who's throwing the ball, because we don't have anyone better.
One thing you briefly
We're still in
mentioned
first
there.
place, so I just want to bring that up.
Of course.
Because honestly, some of my college buddies they watch the show. They'll text me, "I'm watching the show right now." They're still, so just. I mean, listen, I lost Joe Burrow, I lost Ken Walker, I lost Aaron Jones, and yet you bastards are all still losing to me. So just, something to think about.
Okay.
You briefly mentioned it.
went to college with him 30
Kenneth
years ago.
Walker is doubtful for Thursday Night Football against the Cowboys. He was not on our injury graphics. He's not expected to play. We'll get more into Zach Charbonnet in just a bit during Love-Hate. One last piece of news. The Athletics' Jeff Howe reports the Patriots are preparing Bailey Zappy to start against the Chargers in Week 13. Jay, are you fired up for Bailey Zappy?
I'm not. I'm not fired up for Bailey Zappy, unfortunately. So Bailey Zappy's taken 71 snaps this season. They've been 71 really bad snaps. He hasn't really played well at all. I think the fake spike interception against the Colts will go down in infamy. Now, at least it's different, right? At least it's different, because whatever Mac Jones was doing wasn't working. Now, we'll see what happens to Bob Douglas. He's got no weapons whatsoever to throw to Bailey Zappy. So I think this is probably just, it might be slightly better news for Ramondre and Zeke just because they're more inclined to run the ball, but I think this is largely much ado about nothing.
Probably is. A couple of things to consider here, though. I think, again, if you sort of think about how, and Connor, you can speak to this too, because I know you're at Jets practice all the time, but I don't think people out there really fully understand how NFL practices go. And so the fact is that Mac Jones, for the majority of the season, has gotten all the first-team reps. Often the backups will, if they get any reps, if the backups get reps, it's with the practice squad guys going against the first-team defense. They don't get a lot of, quote, first-team reps where they're getting to throw to Devontae Parker or Hunter Henry or Pop Douglas. And so maybe they get literally 5 throws a game. It sounds insane, 5 throws of practice. It sounds insane, but
it's very real.
So the fact that they're saying, hey, we're going to, Bailey Zappy's had to come in, but every single week that he's had to come in, and not that he hasn't prepared or that he, I'm not saying that, but just I think there is a different mindset, and it's just reps, man. Especially if you're inexperienced, which both these guys are, Mac and Bailey Zappy, they're both young players. So Bailey Zappy, who's I think, isn't he a second-year player?
Yeah,
he's a second-year player. Who's a 4th-round pick out of Western Kentucky.
Day 3 pick, yeah.
Day 3 pick out of Western Kentucky, I think, right?
He's had a ton of passing records in college.
Yeah, and so my point is that, it's one thing to be like, hey, you got literally 15 pass attempts over the course of a week, and now you've got to get in there down 2 touchdowns, versus, hey, we're going to prepare this game plan for what we think you do well. We're going to try to hide what we don't think you do well, and you're the guy this week, all the first-team reps. I'm not saying Bailey Zappy is going to go out there and light it up, but I do think there's at least some cautious optimism that he'll at least be better than what we've seen so far. Now, that may be, instead of a 2, he's a 3. I'm damning with faint praise here, but I think the last thing to consider here is that if he goes off, think about Zappy Hour. Think about the amazing dad puns we can do,
machine.
right? It is. It's welcome into the Zappy Hour. Here at the Zappy Hour, we drink free.
Yes.
Zappy birthday, everyone.
What you can do with the letter Z.
Yeah, there's just a lot of
It's a great name.
I just don't. it's weird because you're a dad, you have 3 young children, but you're not fully in dad joke mode yet, and
No.
I just feel like you just gotta you don't.
Bailey Zappy could push me there.
Yeah,
he could push
just
me over
it.
the
This
line.
is the player to
That's what
do
I
it.
might need. I might need him to take down the Chargers, and then I'll get to your level.
The weird part is I bet you I will say this. Jokes aside, that I think. I wouldn't be surprised if you see some Malik Cunningham as well, that they try to mix and match. They re-signed Will Grier. It's weird because I've heard from some beat reporters that they really liked Will Grier, and then they released him. And then, of course, on the other hand, they released Bailey Zappy in the preseason, and now he's starting from this week. So
And they've cut Malik Cunningham this year, too, at times.
Bill Belichick seems obsessed with this 2 QB thing. He clearly didn't watch Friday Night Lights with Matt Saracen and JD McCoy because that didn't work out then. And it's not working out for the Patriots either. Now, favorable matchup, to be fair, against the Chargers defense, so that is one
They've
thing.
been better.
A little
Ish.
bit. Yeah, they were
Better-ish.
okay against Baltimore.
Yeah.
But I just think back to how bad they looked against Detroit, pretty reasonably, and then how bad Detroit looked against Green
Yeah,
Bay.
you won't find me carrying the Brandon Staley flag on the show.
it just I don't. We've spent more time on this than we probably should have. Yeah, looks like there's a change. I do like Pop Douglas if he clears concussion protocol. If not, I do think Devontae Parker could just get some cheap volume here. But you're right. It's likely the running backs.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest RotoWorld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.